Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner Football Fans podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we are coming at you from the Podcast Palace in beautiful Norman, Oklahoma.
Where we are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left. Do you know what also goes on in Norman, Oklahoma, Rob?
It's the, no, what?
It's the big cucumber capital of the world.
Wasn't expecting that, Terry.
I thought you would know that, Rob.
Well, I didn't.
You did not.
I did not know that.
You were speechless. But remember to hit your subscribe button, like button, follow button, whatever button it is there listening to us on Spotify, on Google Play Music, on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and any other device or a podcast.
Right.
Whatever,
like us, follow us,
whatever it is.
Stalk us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, whatever.
We're okay with it.
Yep.
Also, catch us on Netflix original QB1 coming out very shortly.
Isn't it Friday?
Friday the 16th.
Friday the 16th.
Watch that episode.
Yeah, we will be watching it. We will find out, and we will put an old Twitter out and let everybody know what episode we're on. But you'll want to watch all the episodes, but you might want to go watch ours first and then roll on back by. Big news. Thank you. The UCLA tailgate in Pasadena, California at the Rose Bowl, Rob, is what?
Sold out.
Sold out. In actuality, Dan got a hold of me today, and Dan's kind of like an airline. Guess what he did?
He flew somewhere?
No.
Oh.
He oversold, so we actually have more than the 40 or 45 originally. I believe he said there are 70 attendees. That some folks from the LA Sooner Club got in contact with him. So he added some folks from there.
Some of them are, LAPD, so I really don't think we're going to get in any trouble.
But like I said, we are considering selling viewer packets that you can stand outside the tailgate and watch Dan. I think he's going to do an ice luge shot or something. They pour.
That should be interesting.
Yeah. So, but there's going to be a lot of Sooner fans there. There's going to be some UCLA fans there. I think there's going to be a lot of Sooner fans at the game, as a matter of fact. So it may be almost a home game for Oklahoma out there in Southern California. And also go check out our YouTube channel, our Thursday nights from Louis Grill and
Bar at Louis
on Campus Corner, and go check them out. We always tell you to tell them that we sent you. It will do you absolutely no good.
None whatsoever.
But, make sure and say hi. But when you go in there, it's a great place. If you're not at our tailgate or when you're wandering around game day, to swing into Louis and have a cold drink, have some nachos, some
our banners up there, so find that.
We have two banners up there.
Yeah, we do have two banners up there right now.
But we do have a Sooner fan coming on here shortly that we will get to here in a little bit. But, Rob, I think the first thing we want to do is had some sad news this week.
Yeah, we did.
Certainly did. The University of Oklahoma. Mike Gaddis, former running back at the University of Oklahoma from 1988 to 90, passed away this week. I think Monday at the age of 50. And those of you who aren't as old as Rob and I, which is probably a lot of you guys, he played 3 seasons at OU. He finished with 423 carries and 2,622 yards, which is a 6.2 yards per carry average.
That is phenomenal.
He had a knee injury in the OU Texas game in '88, and Barry Switzer said he would have likely won the Heisman that year had he not injured his knee. And I think as far as an athlete is concerned, or somebody, for a coach to say this about another athlete or about one of his athletes who had people, the likes of Billy Sims, Spencer Tillman, Joe Washington, Barry Switzer.
The list is long.
Yeah. Barry Switzer made the statement that of all the running backs he ever coached, the best runner was Mike Gaddis. And that's saying a lot.
That's a pretty impressive statement right there.
Yeah. But, you know, the other thing I thought was interesting is, you know, Switzer's 81 now. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it must be weird to see, you know, he's had some players, you know, pass, and he kind of, you know, spoke about it that he's lost, but, you know, that's just part of life. But it must be weird, you know, that guys that you mentored, you know, basically as athletes and men are now passing.
Probably a father figure to a lot of them.
Absolutely. But I think everything that was said about Gaddis from all the players, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but there were a bunch of folks out there, former players, who just talked about how great of a teammate and great of a friend and man he was, and that's more important than anything he ever did on the football field.
For sure.
But it is a sad week, you know, for us Sooner fans. But, you know, those of you who got to watch him, if you haven't, there's some YouTube stuff out there.
He was good.
He was really, really good.
He was tall, and he was quick, and he was power. He was I mean, I hate to compare him, but he was a little bit like our favorite running back, Marcus Dupree.
Marcus Dupree. Okay. There's so many.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I mean,
I think it was faster than Marcus.
He was the whole package.
Yeah.
He was faster than Marcus?
I think so. Okay. When Barry Switzer says you're the best runner, you're the best runner.
Well, okay.
So,
yeah, I mean, the data pool with Marcus was so small, though.
Yeah, there was such a short time.
Yeah.
Still wish we'd get him on the podcast and let him talk about that some more. But
that'd be cool.
Yeah, but if you've seen the, you know, what is it, 30 for 30, the greatest that never was. Pretty much, I think, you know, covers the whole thing. So, but how's the stadium looking, Rob?
So it looks like all the seats are in place.
Well, that was quick.
I know, boy. They got busy. They must have been working around the clock. But the north has still not been opened. So, but they're going to start pulling out of there, I think, tomorrow, which means they feel like they're at a point where they can start the polishing process, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Can we talk about beer sales at the stadium, or?
Well, there isn't any yet. I mean, I don't know what we talk about.
Well, the stadium's not open. Game day. Can we talk about that, or you want to just skip on by that beer is going to be available? So is that even the topic everybody's happy about now?
So everybody knows, I think, that the beer is going to be available. So I can probably share that there's going to be 29 portable beer locations.
29
plus that I know of right now, 3 draft trailers that each have 6 per side draft nozzles. So, and we're actually turning one of the stands into a beer stand, and that's for those folks up in the Upper West because we lost one of our vendors this year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the locations, the Upper West location, instead of putting anybody back in there, we just turned it into a beer stand.
Stand.
Yeah, they're going to sell beer, water, peanuts, and maybe hot dogs. We're still kind of rattling that one around.
So how many beer stations again altogether?
29.
29.
That's just portable locations.
Portable.
That doesn't count the
beer stand,
the draft trailers, and the
two
beer
draft
stands,
trailers. Yeah. And the draft trailers are the ones they had at baseball.
Well, 2 of them are.
Yeah.
One of them is coming from Budweiser.
Yeah. So those of you who are out there who've been harping about beer sales at the stadium, you have no more harping to do. There will be beer at the stadium. So
and lots of it. So I think I can share this too without hurting anybody's feelings, but there's a estimated amount that they think that we're going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have 3 times that amount on hand, just in case. I'm like, I don't know if your estimates are all that good if I got to have 3 times the amount that you're estimating. So
that's that's not. That doesn't make sense, Rob. I'm kind of speaking.
I know. I was in that meeting today, and I was like,
We're going to sell 1 million beers, but you need to have 3 million for us to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
so
it's a head scratcher.
Okay, let's try to figure out how much beer will be sold. Okay, what is it? 83,000 seats, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's say 85,000.
Yeah.
Let's say 80% of the stadium will buy a beer, at least one. So that's 80. No, I don't know what's 80% of 83,000.
I don't know.
So
I'm not good with the new math.
So let's just say, are they thinking one person will, every person, or not with that one person, every person will buy a beer, but do we think that there will be 83,000 beers sold or 85,000 beers sold at the stadium?
Well, you got to figure the lines are going to be long, right? So if you're in line to get beer, how many are you going to buy? How many?
Dos.
You're going to buy 2, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to make one trip or 2?
I will only make one.
Okay. So that's kind of what goes into the figures. There's half the people in the stands are going to buy beers, right? So that's 40,000, and probably
they'll probably buy 2.
They'll probably buy 2.
That's 80,000. So they'll probably go back at halftime and buy 2.
Some will, some won't. You know,
that's a lot of beer. I wonder if I could set up a beer heist the day before or the day after. You remember Wahoo and beer, don't you, Rob?
I never did that, sir. Never, not once, ever. Never.
But before we get the Sooner fan on with us, I wanted to talk a little bit about the offensive line.
Okay.
Because we're going to be talking about the defense a lot in the coming weeks, and I got a feeling we're going to be talking about it a lot during the season. So, and we may even talk about it here in a little bit as well. But who we know is going to be on the offensive line is who?
Well, we know that the center, Creed Humphrey, is going to be there for sure.
6'5", 315 pounds. Bedenbaugh said that they're looking, obviously, for a backup center. EJ Ndoma Ogar is running with the 2s right now. RJ Proctor, who is the Virginia graduate transfer.
He's a pretty big boy, too, right?
Yeah, he's pretty big. Yeah. He's 6'4", 337.
Oh, okay. I was thinking.
But he's a possibility if something happens to Creed to keep from burning EJ's red shirt. But leading the way, okay, and I was looking at James Hell's stuff on the Football Brainiac, or the Football Brainiacs, is the left tackle, junior Eric Swinson, 6'5", 317 pounds.
Yeah.
Right tackle, sophomore Adrian Ely, 6'6", 326 pounds. Left guard, Marquise Hayes, sophomore, 6'5", 332 pounds. Right guard, sophomore Tyrese Robinson, 6'3", 328. That's the baby out of the group. 6'3", 328 is the smallest guy out there. Now, at left tackle, they got JUCO transfer Finley Felix at 6'5", 314, who apparently is pushing Swinson pretty hard, and freshman Stacy Wilkins, who is 6'6", 309, is pushing as well. At right tackle, David Swaby at 6'9", 319 pounds is working at right tackle, and Daryl Simpson, 6'7", 349, is getting some time at right guard. Left guard. And then the graduate transfer, RJ Proctor, 6'4", 337 pounds, has 38 games and 12 starts. So he does have some experience, and he's apparently been emerging as a leader of that offensive line along with Creed. So I know that everything's got to gel. We know that there's going to be some birth pangs with this new group of guys. But how big of an issue, Rob, do you think this offensive line is going to be this year?
Well, obviously, we have to say that it's probably not going to be as good as last year's line because, I mean, they won the Joe Moore Award trophy.
Yeah, they were the best.
They were the best. So is it going to take, a step back? Maybe. But even a step back from the best is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be good, Terry. I think they can handle everybody in the Big 12 for sure. When they go up against those big defensive linemen from Clemson and from Alabama, that's when they're going to have to prove their worth.
Right.
And by then,
they'll have a lot of experience under their belt. So, that for some reason, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about the offense dropping off this year, and rightfully so. The offensive line is a big key to that, But I'm going to contend with what we've been talking about all along, Rob, is when Joe Mixon, P. Ryan, and what's his name, wide receiver that left that year?
CD?
Nope.
Dede.
Yeah, Dede Westbrook. CD. We've had CD and Dede. Dede Westbrook left. Everybody said, well, now we're going to see how bad Baker Mayfield really is.
Yeah.
He's lost. He doesn't have anything to throw to, no running game, and lo and behold, emerges Hollywood Brown, CD Lamb, and who else? Sermon. All these guys come out of the closet, and Baker Mayfield wins the Heisman Trophy. Then everybody says, well, Kyler Murray, he doesn't have any experience. He's small.
Yeah, he's small. He's too small.
He's not as good as Baker Mayfield. They're going to see a drop off, and lo and behold, what happens?
Kyler may have he may have ever had the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baker Mayfield had the two best statistical years in college football back to back ever, and Kyler Murray beat it. Okay, so we've watched the three best seasons any quarterback has ever had.
Yeah.
Now enter Jalen Hurts, who was a starter, has only lost 2 games, lost his job to a freshman, however, came in the biggest game, really the second biggest game last year for Alabama, came in the Georgia game in SEC championship and just beat the crap out of Georgia. And everybody's talking about, well, they've lost this offensive line, and Hollywood Brown's gone. The offensive line's not going to be as good. You're going to see
it may be that very way with the offensive line. We may not see any kind of a drop off. These guys coming in may be as good or better than what we had last year. I mean, I doubt it, but we said the same thing about Kyler, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we said the same thing, yeah. So
it's. Why would we expect her? I don't expect her because the main reason is the skill position. I'm telling you, Hurts has more targets than Baker and Kyler have had combined. Okay, all these freshmen coming in that are going to play. They're good athletes. They're good receivers. They were the best of the best coming out of high school, and they came right here to Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we know they're going to be good.
Yeah, so it's not just who was running quarterback. It's the schemes that Lincoln Riley had, and there's a lot of people talking about, there's not enough footballs to go around. I just got a feeling Lincoln Riley's going to have those guys on the field at the same time, and every one of them's going to have an option or a play designed to get them open.
Oh, man. I am here for it, Terry. I'm here for it.
It may not be as dynamic as what it was with Kyler and Baker. It may be more dynamic. It may be more dink and dunk and running the ball, but still the best offense in the country. I don't see it not being the best offense in the country because at its head is Lincoln Riley.
Yep. And he's absolute best right now. And you know what? No one, I mean, I guess there can be an argument made for, Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Or
there's no better offensive coach in the country.
All right.
Period. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
Nick Saban, Dabo, any of them. He is the best offensive coach in the country.
And there's no stretch there, Terry. I mean, you can look at our offenses from the last 2-3 seasons and see that we were better than everybody offensively. And we were so much better offensively than everybody that we could go to the playoffs with the worst defense in the nation. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
With the worst defense in the nation, we still made the playoffs.
Right.
That's how good our offense was.
Right. And gave both teams in those playoffs a run for the money. Should have beat Georgia.
Should have beat Georgia.
Should have beat Georgia.
Should have, would have, could have.
Yeah, but we didn't. We made a run at Alabama.
Yep.
Gave them too much of a cushion. But I'm just not seeing a drop off
in the offense.
In the offense.
Okay, I would agree.
I mean, everybody's going to, hey, this, I've heard a lot of guys on the radio, a lot of the experts, and which, hey, I listen to them because I enjoy them. I just happen to disagree. Like, if you think that it's still going to be dynamic, but it's not going to be the number one offense in the country again, it may be 2 or 3, which is nothing. Why don't you expect it to be the number one offense?
Well, I think they probably think that because, Jalen did lose his job.
Right.
But now he lost it to a kid that can really play.
Right.
So maybe Jalen didn't have the quarterback coach that he has now.
Right.
That said, hey, if you'll do this, you'll
have the offensive scheme that he has now.
Scheme, the receivers. Well, they had some pretty good receivers over there, but
yeah. But I mean, I'm just not expecting a drop off. And until I'm drinking the Oklahoma, offensive Kool-Aid, because it is yet to drop off since Lincoln has been there.
Right. And
everybody thought it would.
I'm going to promise you this, Terry. Are you ready?
What's that?
You can take this to the bank.
Taking it to the bank.
You will not see a drop off from the defensive side of the ball. Because there's nowhere for them to go. Nowhere for them to go.
The defense
other than up.
The defense will not drop off this year.
It will not.
How could it? On this day, Rob said it.
I mean, you cannot get any worse than worse. Am I right?
True. Yeah, true. Mm-hmm.
So as long as they were the worst last year, and they were, then they can't get worse than that. I'm just saying, unless Kansas comes in and puts 70 on us. I mean, I don't see any way you can say the defense got worse.
True. I'm not going to talk about the defense yet, Rob. I'm going to get mad. You're going to make me mad. Now, one of the things I did want to bring up that we're going to talk about with the fan is too, but the big one, the SI stuff came out. But did you hear what Ohio State did today?
They cheated? Oh, wait. No, no, what? I don't know.
How often do you say the or the?
When I say Ohio State?
Anytime.
I guess every day.
They are trying to trademark the word the.
Okay.
Yes. Now, does that mean, I was listening to Sam Mays on the radio coming home, and he goes, what? Does that mean I got to, if I buy a shirt or I make a shirt that says, the dog on it, I got to give, Ohio State $1? But we think it's in reference to colleges.
Okay.
You can't go the University of Oklahoma. It's the Ohio State.
How many colleges use the word "the" in front of their name to begin with besides them?
I don't know. The U, I guess.
The U, okay.
Yeah, University of Miami. But they want it trademarked because they're the university or the Ohio State University.
Huh. Well, we call ourselves the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Which, that makes a lot of Aggies mad. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
You're not the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, but we are. Most people, even national media, either say Sooners, Oklahoma, or OU. When you say OU, everybody knows. They don't think you're talking about Oregon.
Yeah. Or Ohio
University. Or, Okmulgee State Tech. Or
whatever.
They know OU is Oklahoma and Sooners. So, there's not much, it is the University of Oklahoma, but, when our players are on the NFL, they don't go, the Ohio State University. They don't say.
They need to chill. They need to pump the brakes a little bit, stay in their lane. Come on.
Yeah.
The.
I'll
the upside somebody's head.
So, and then of course the SI stuff, and I want to talk about that with Sooner Fan. Now when we get him on here, I want to talk about 3 of their polls. But one, they had a bunch of them, was the greatest fight song. So we're going to talk about that. Top rivalries, I want to talk about that, and the greatest programs, which is what flipped everybody out across the nation, really, and not just Sooner fans. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit of defense and whatever else he wants to talk about. And by the way, his name is, our fan that's going to be on is Joshua. Had to get my notes here. Sorry, Josh. Joshua Barnhardt out of Van Buren, Arkansas. So we're going to get him on here.
Hey, Van Buren's a nice place.
Yeah. You ready to talk to
I'm
Joshua?
ready. Let's get him on.
All right, Sooner fans, as promised, on the phone, all the way from Van Buren, Arkansas, we have Sooner fan Josh Barnhardt. Boomer, Josh.
Boomer.
How's it going, man?
It's going good.
Well, first off, your Twitter handle is also Maverick2280, right?
Yes.
So those of you who want to follow him on Twitter, do that as well. That's the first question. Maverick2280, are you a former fighter pilot?
No, I'm not.
And
However,
did you ever appear on,
Do what, Rob?
And did you ever appear on Top Gun?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Have you ever been inverted? No.
No, I have never been inverted. I would love to be inverted.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
When I was growing up, we lived near an Air Force base, and Top Gun was my favorite movie. And when I'd be playing Little League baseball, they would be doing dogfighting maneuvers overhead.
Oh, wow.
So it was really hard to actually play. It was in Langley, Virginia, Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, and so I was enamored with fighter planes, and of course Top Gun was my favorite movie. So I'm super excited for next year with Top Gun 2.
Yeah, Top Gun 2 is the trailer for that is nuts.
No Kelly McGinnis.
Yeah, but I saw some stuff that I saw an interview with Tom Cruise that he actually made. He did, of course, which is not surprising, but all the actors that were pilots flew in the planes. The cameras are in planes. They were like in the back seat. But they were, all, he made sure that you understand you're going to go through training to fly this stuff, to fly in it, so it'll look realistic. Which is.
Yeah, I heard some crazy stories about that. I also heard in Live, Die, Repeat, I think is the name of the movie. I had a couple different names for the movie where he dies and comes back to life and they have to fight aliens or something. He said he'd only do the movie if he got to land a helicopter in that square in England.
Yeah.
And so that's how he agreed to do the movie. He's like, I want to land a helicopter there. So they're like, okay. So yeah, he's crazy like that.
Yeah. The only thing that bothers me is, I know Val Kilmer's in it, and Val's gone through throat cancer. He looks pretty rough.
Really?
Yeah, he looks bad. I mean, not bad. I mean, I that sounded horrible.
May have to Google him on up.
Yeah, bad Terry. He doesn't look. He looks like a guy who's gone through cancer. Cancer treatment, survived it.
Understood.
He doesn't look. He doesn't look like. What was he? He was the Iceman, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. He doesn't look like Iceman no more. So
no.
I'm interested to see what role because he's in the movie, and so
yes.
I'm interested to see what he's going to be in it. I don't think they could get him in a fighter plane with his health, but anyway.
Hey, this just in: Nick Saban knows all of the Clintons' secrets.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Was that on Twitter or something, Rob?
Yeah.
Well, Josh, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You live in Van Buren now. You're originally from there. Give everybody a little bit of rundown of how you became a Sooner fan. Lifelong, married into it, forced into it. What happened?
Right. Well, actually, I moved around quite a bit when I was a kid, so I never really had like a team growing up, from birth. And but I did marry into a Sooner family, and I became a fan it was right around 2000, 99, 2000. So, which I've heard you guys say OU football didn't exist in the 90s. So,
that's like the dark ages,
Right. So I
Christ
came in at the
being
right time.
Yeah.
Well, I came in at the right time with Josh Heupel and all that. So I was hooked ever since. And plus, I have a superior man crush on Mike Leach. So that helped. But, so I started then, and I still think my favorite OU game was the OU-Nebraska game from 2000 when Nebraska went up 14-0 inside 2 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, here we go. And then we ended up winning 41-14.
Yeah, then it was over.
we started playing football.
That's probably my favorite game. So I got started then, and I've been a fan ever since.
So now, have you gone to? Do you come to many games, or how often do you get into Norman?
I've never been. It's one of the things I need to do, but I've never actually been to a game at Oklahoma.
So you're going to try to make one this year, or are you going to make one this year?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to try to make the Houston game. It works out great with my schedule. I have to work most Saturdays, so seeing as it being on a Sunday and the day before Labor Day, which I'm off, so it kind of works out perfect.
Yeah, well, it'll be it's the first Sunday game for Oklahoma ever in history. Yeah,
right.
And so that'll mean I've been to 2 Sooner home games that made here. I was at the first night game against Colorado.
1986.
Yeah, when they trucked was it 86 or 87?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but
Let's go with 86 because that's what I said.
Okay. But they trucked the lights in. They didn't have lights.
Right.
And they had these big telescopic lights that they brought in and put over there. And so I've been at the first night game and the first Sunday game. And Rob's really looking forward to the Sunday game.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's going to be fun. You got to come by the tailgate if you make it in. We always have a big bash tailgate out there. But before we get into Sooner talk, okay, we want to talk about a couple of things here first. Have you seen all the SI Sports Illustrated stuff out there?
I have.
Okay, good, because I wanted to bring that up with us, not just me and Rob, with another fam. And we're going to I picked 3 of them, okay? The first one is the greatest fight songs in college football history. And I'm just going to run through them. And let's see if we've ever heard them or anybody could hum them. Bow Down to Washington, the University of Washington. I couldn't tell you what that sounds like. Do you?
I don't know either.
Rob?
Yes, it's no, I have no clue. Are you going to play it?
No, I the FSU fight song, Florida State.
I know the tomahawk chop thing, but I don't know their fight song. That's the only thing I know about them.
Yeah.
And I've watched these teams a million times, and I couldn't pick it out, if you played it for me.
Yeah. Number 8 is Anchors Aweigh, Navy. Yes, I know that one.
I know that one.
Yeah. I can't hardly say this one with a straight face. Tiger Rag, Clemson. Go ahead.
How's that on the list? Because they had the same exact song as LSU. They stole it from LSU.
That's what Rob thinks.
Just what I was getting ready to say. Isn't that LSU's fight song too? Because I'm thinking, hey, somebody's got to change here.
Yeah. So, okay. Fight on University of Southern California.
I know that one.
Yeah, I know a little bit on that one. On Wisconsin. From Wisconsin.
Yeah. I'm not. No, yeah. I couldn't pick that one out.
Victory March is number 4, Notre Dame.
I know that one.
Yeah. Rocky Top, University of Tennessee.
Know that one.
Then, of course, Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma.
Yep. Know that one.
Then number 1 is the Victors, Michigan. Okay.
Okay.
Now here's, Oklahoma's number 2. That's not a bad ranking. Okay. But here is my thing. The number 1 fight song in college football history should be the most recognizable song out there. Okay. Now you could play me Rocky Top and I would know it. You could play me the
but
Victors.
that's a song too, right?
Yeah,
Well, I guess Boom Sooner is too.
Well, well, they're all songs, Rob.
I guess.
But to me, the most recognizable, anybody, even people who aren't football, sports, or NCAA college fans, if you started playing Boomer Sooner, they would say that's Oklahoma's song. Don't you think? It's the most recognizable song out there.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it helps that they play it a million times a game.
Exactly, that we score.
Every time we score, so take that.
So,
that's why people hate it.
I think it should be number 1 because it's the most recognizable song. And like I said, everybody who hears it goes, oh, yeah. It would take me a minute to figure out the victors. It would take me a minute to figure out the victory march for Notre Dame. It wouldn't. We're anchors away. But, I think Oklahoma should be at the top of that one. What do you think, Josh?
I don't know. I think I do know the Michigan one, and it's famous, but yeah, like Oklahoma and USC both do that thing where they play the fight song a million times a game, and those are the ones that stand out to me that I would know just because you hear it all the time.
Right.
When you watch their games. So I think that, those probably should be the top 2.
Yeah, but
because they use it way more than, Michigan hadn't been scoring a lot lately, so it's not like people have heard it in a while.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you, you could sit down and play me, I couldn't tell you what Bow Down to Washington even comes close to sounding like.
Right, and I've watched Washington games, and I know I've heard it, because you're watching on TV. But if you played it for me right now, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's the Washington song.
You know what song didn't make it?
What song?
What's that?
I've been working on the railroad.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the Boom Pickens theme didn't make it either.
They have one?
Yeah. So, okay. Next one is the top rivalries. Okay. At number 10, number 10 was Texas A&M. Now, do you have a problem with that?
Well, since they don't play it anymore.
Duh, bingo.
They don't play it at all.
So it can't be.
But there is hate there.
Apparently, if you ask them, they're not rivals. So
right. So yeah. So again, that should be off the list. Okay.
Right.
Pittsburgh and West Virginia. Do you got a problem with that one?
Man, that one's nasty. I wish they would play it more, but yeah,
they don't play it anymore.
Very much anymore.
It's off the list.
Yeah, I think it's on the schedule in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
they're bringing it back.
It took a 10-year break, and they're bringing it back. So
right.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss.
That's a
great one.
Nasty one
Egg
too.
Bowl,
like
right?
That.
Yeah. Florida State, Miami. That's a good one. Georgia, Florida. That one they tried to copy the OU Texas. They play it in Jacksonville now.
It's
every
also
year.
called the
big. Is it the
biggest
cocktail
party on the
planet or
something like
world's largest cocktail party.
Yeah.
They played that in Jacksonville since like the 30s.
Yeah, so,
that's a pretty nasty one too.
Yeah, Notre Dame, USC. That's the only good team that Notre Dame ever plays. Even
right,
it may be the best team they play, even when USC is bad.
Yeah.
Army, Navy. Sorry, it's number 4. That should be number 1. Period.
You like that one?
That's the greatest game played in college football.
I have a huge problem.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, when you get your own weekend, Yeah,
and it's it's not that it's a great game. It's the pomp and circumstance. It's Army Navy.
Yeah.
It's a happening.
Although I would disagree that it's not a great game because
the last couple of years. Oh yeah,
yeah. Now that Army's come a long way,
but I mean, it's there was the one game, was it 2 years ago, that it snowed and the game lasted like in like 45 minutes because the clock never stopped. They both ran the ball. It was the shortest football game I ever watched.
Yeah, but it was awesome.
I know, it was amazing.
What were you going to say, Rob?
I have a real problem with the next one.
Yeah, Texas, Oklahoma, number 3.
That's why I have the problem with it.
Yeah.
Because you said Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's how they have it listed.
The
Texas.
problem is, even alphabetically, we come before that. Okay?
Exactly. I was going to say that. Alphabetically.
Yeah, because look at the next one.
First.
Number 2 is Ohio State, Michigan. They put that in alphabetical order, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then Alabama, Auburn. Okay, which I don't have. I don't have that big of a problem with OU, Texas, 1, 2, or 3. I mean, those are big rivalries. What I do have a problem with is number 10 and number 9 aren't played anymore. Mm-hmm. What's the greatest rivalry that's not played anymore?
It's OU, Nebraska.
Greatest rivalry is not played? Yeah, I was going to fix to say OU, Nebraska.
OU, Nebraska.
Sure it is.
Yeah, okay, the game of the century. I mean, some of the greatest football games ever played were played by those two teams, and it's not on the list.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't play anymore, but neither does Texas A&M, neither does Pitt. Come on. I mean, that's one that, though, we should still be, complaining to Joe C. and the Nebraska, whoever their athletic director is. That game needs to be played every year.
We're going up there in like 2035 or something.
Yeah.
You and I will be on walkers by then.
So, do you have?
I'm excited for that game in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Do you guys remember the cold open when Keith Jackson came on and I think it was something like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, OU, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean that's such a great game and a rivalry, but okay. Now here's the one that set Sooner fans on fire, and I'm going to start with number 1, and we'll go down. Okay. This time, the greatest programs in college football history. Number 1, Alabama. I don't have a problem with that. Rob, do you have a problem with it?
I guess not.
Josh, do you have a problem with it?
No, not really.
I mean, not just because, they had Bear Bryant. I mean, Gene Stallings won a championship, but, they've been solid for a long time.
They have.
The Ohio State University is number 2. Okay. Wins alone puts them there. Okay. What do you think, Josh? You okay with Ohio State there?
No.
Because okay.
Everybody has this idea that Ohio State's always been great, and they've always been good. They've always been solid, but they haven't been great until the past 10 years. If you look back at their history, besides the 2001 national championship, it had been since Woody Hayes since they'd won one. Back in like the 50s or 60s.
Archie Griffin.
They're always a solid 8-win team, but
right.
they were, 8 to 10-win team, but they were never, like they are now.
But they are a top 10 program, wouldn't you say? Maybe not.
Oh, yeah, I would agree they're top 10, but not
okay.
top 2.
Rob?
I would need for them to share with us their, how they come up with this list. Because if you don't have natties ranked up there really high, then I got a problem with it. You can win as many games as you want, but if you don't ever win a natty.
Well, and this, this idiot that wrote this, his name was Ross Dellinger. So. For Sports Illustrated. So,
well, for starters, we're probably the error is we are reading anything from ESPN.
No, Sports Illustrated.
Oh, okay. I stand correct. I sit correct.
Okay,
Did you see his tweet when everybody was all mad at him? He was like, I wrote the post, but this is a list that was compiled by all the writers. I didn't come up with it or something like that.
He was like, it's not me.
Trying to get rid of some of the heat.
So number 3 is Michigan. They're the winningest team, but I'm with you. Relevance is a big thing. They haven't been relevant in forever. Okay, so
they're the winningest team because they got like a 20-year head start on everybody.
Yeah, but top 10 program, I don't have a problem with. Number 3, I got a problem with. How about you, Josh? You kind of the same way, or?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now here's one I really have a problem with. Number 4, Texas. Okay. Now here's my issue with Texas. Okay, they do have 11 more overall wins than Oklahoma.
And
okay?
how much longer have they been playing football?
Yeah, but OU has owned Texas the last 18 years. Okay, since 2000, Oklahoma has owned that rivalry.
And they only have 2 natties.
Right, but that alone puts Oklahoma above Texas. I mean, you got to put relevance in this. So Texas, maybe a top 10 program, but the last 20 years, they haven't been. They haven't been real relevant.
Yeah, and that goes a long way in the whole discussion of who's a blue blood program and who's not. So a lot of people include Texas in that, and a lot of people do not. I for one, do not include Texas into the blue blood program level.
No.
In fact, I think there's only 4 schools there. So,
Josh, what do you think? Texas?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they'd like to think they were number 4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Okay. USC, big thing is Oklahoma has more wins than the University of Southern California. So Oklahoma should be ahead of them just by that.
Right. And OU has a better winning percentage than Texas as well.
Yeah. And
Texas just been playing longer.
Right. So USC doesn't belong there. Plus, I hate USC. So.
Oh, yeah, I don't like USC at all. don't like them.
Notre Dame, okay, they have 8 titles. They're ahead of Oklahoma in wins, but Oklahoma will surpass them this year. Okay, mark my words. Oklahoma will pass Notre Dame on the total wins.
And have they been playing longer? Or do you know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I would assume they have.
Yeah.
But listen. I want to give Notre Dame some props. Because
when this list came out, I went to Wikipedia, looked up the all-time win leaders in college football history, and their overall record, I think they've played like 60 more games than OU has.
Yeah.
And they're only, 3 or 4 wins maybe ahead? I can't remember.
It's like 4 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean.
And then there's number 7, Nebraska. Again, they have more wins than Oklahoma, but OU will pass them in overall wins this year. Okay?
Yes.
And really, how many titles do they got? 4 or 5? I don't know how many titles Nebraska
I don't know.
They got 2 in the 90s, and I can't remember. I think they got 1 in the 70s. They didn't win one in the 80s, did they?
No, they didn't. Tom Osborne didn't win one in the 80s. He didn't win one until the 90s. So,
right.
Then we got Penn State at number 8. Okay, OU has more wins. It hasn't won a title, and neither has Notre Dame in over 30 years. Okay, relevance. Okay, period. And plus, the whole Sandusky.
I was going to say they should be off the list just for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's what sent Sooner Twitter on fire and Sooner fans everywhere. Tennessee at number 9 and Oklahoma at number 10. How could you put Tennessee in the top 10 of this period?
Well, I think the guy was kicking back some of Grandpa's cough medicine.
Yeah.
He was smoking a little something.
Tennessee's a joke.
That is absolute joke.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't. I mean, when was the last time they won a title?
It was
1998.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was the first year of the BCS, the year after Peyton Manning graduated.
Yeah.
What was that quarterback?
But I mean,
right
before that, it was like the 50s or something. Here's a dirty little secret about Tennessee. They did all their winning when college football was segregated.
Ah.
So, yeah, if you go back and look at when they were good, it was before before integration in college football. Except for that period in the 90s when they had Peyton Manning. They were good then.
And it's interesting you bring that up because, Alabama's number 1 on the list. And have you seen, I think it's the 30 on 30 on ESPN about segregation in college football, and that Bear Bryant scheduled USC at Alabama. Okay, because
Sam Bam Cunningham came in there and kicked their tail
because he couldn't get the Board of Regents, and the state of Alabama to approve integration and him to recruit, black athletes. And he knew the only way to get people to do it is let them come in here and tear us apart. And USC came in there and tore them up. And guess what happened? But I thought that was, because Bear had been trying to get, African-American athletes for a while, and they would not let him.
Well, you know how Alabama became desegregated? It was Forrest Gump.
I just knew you were going there.
It was Forrest Gump. I'm just telling you it was. Okay.
You've seen it on the movie, right?
I did.
but that was a I didn't know that until I watched that 30 on 30, and that's why he scheduled that game. Because he knew the arrogance of, and I'm not saying that, all Alabama fans, but I'm thinking the arrogance of the government, the state government, and the board of regents and all that stuff would be upset that they lost, so it was
and he was right.
Yeah, he was right, because boom, all of a sudden, he could start recruiting, black athletes. So right now, Rob, it's time for the Sooner bucket of questions.
Sooner,
and we actually are only going to do one tonight. So, Rob, are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you sending cucumber pictures?
No.
Okay.
I can just tell you I'm not.
So that's an inside joke, by the way, Josh. So just ignore it.
And it's not anything like you think.
It's nothing
it's
like
not like you think. I promise.
Okay, Rob, what is the Sooner bucket question today?
The Sooner bucket question today is... I forgot the Sooner bucket question.
Oh, my God, Rob. What is the weirdest job you've ever had, Josh?
The weirdest job I've ever had?
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good question. I've had a lot of jobs. The weirdest job I ever had? Well, man. Okay. When I was in college, I worked at Old Navy, and they were opening a new Old Navy like 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And so they got a bunch of employees at our Old Navy, and we had to go over there and like set up the store. You know how they, put up all the displays and everything?
Yeah.
And so they had these guys, working minimum wage, and all this, and they wanted us to carry in like these 70-pound boxes full of those, I think it's MDF is what they call that, board stuff, that they build their. And so I did about 4 hours of that, and said I was going to lunch, and I never came back. I was like, I'm not getting paid nearly enough to haul all this stuff, and I just drove off.
Rob,
yeah,
what was your weirdest?
Probably the craziest work experience I've had.
My weirdest job?
Yeah.
You may have to come back to me on that one.
Okay, my weirdest job was I was a flagger, okay? FLAGGR, okay?
Alrighty.
For a crop duster. Okay.
This just keeps getting better.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and what this guy did was, it was in southeastern Oklahoma, I grew up in McAllister, and that area is a lot like Van Buren area. It's hilly, big trees. And he did a lot of his spraying in timber, okay, for, pests and things like that. But we also did fields. But I had a flag that was on a flagpole that was about 40 foot tall. And I would take 38 steps. No, it was 48 steps. And raise up my flag out of the tree line. Okay, and my brother was on the other end of wherever we were at, and he would do the same, and he would raise his flag up over the tree line. That's so he would know where he had sprayed at and where he hadn't sprayed at. So, and then we would do it in fields too. The pole wasn't that long because we didn't have to stick it out of trees, but we would take 48. I would take 48 steps, and I was a freshman in high school. It was a summer job, And I would stand there with a flag, and he'd fly over us, and I would take 48 steps, hold the flag up, and he'd be coming back down. But it was kind of rough in the trees. You have to get the flag up through there, and you had to do it fast because you didn't, he didn't want to make a pass without, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to grow a third arm or fourth eye or something like that from.
I was fixing to say that explains a lot. You get sprayed with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, man, it paid great. I made like $500 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's dumping pesticides and poop on you.
But we would get up at the airport. Okay, we'd have to be at the airport at 4 a.m. Okay, because they would check the weather wherever they were at. We'd hop in a truck with this guy's wife, and she pulled the fuel because he would land somewhere out there. She would drop us off. Now, that summer, I think and we got paid whether we worked or not. We sat there for like 4 or 5 hours at the airport. And, sometimes first thing we'd go, other times we'd sit there 4 or 5 hours and go home. Go back the next day. It may be too wet or anything like that. But I think that whole summer I probably worked 30 days, but I got paid $500 every 2 weeks whether I worked or not. And it was like twice a week I worked.
All right.
So it was a weird job, but Rob, what was your weird job?
Okay, here it is. High school. Right? I have to go all the way back to high school. Have you ever seen anybody cut horses? And I don't mean like riding.
No.
Okay. So you're taking a male horse and you're cutting some of his male parts off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have to open them up and bring them out, right? And then cut them. All right. So I was part of that. I wasn't, obviously I didn't do any of the technical stuff. But once you rope a leg and get that horse down, it takes about 4 or 5 people to hold that horse in place.
I bet.
So that when the vet opens him up and pulls him out and then cuts him off, okay, when that happens, before that happens, they've got the scissors right there, that they're going to take his boy parts, right? He says, all right, everybody ready? He snips, and then you hold for a 1 count, and then you run. Okay, because he's mad, right? And nobody's going to hold him down now. And so if you don't get out of the pen before he gets up, he will bite you, he will stomp you, kick you, he will smash you into the fence. So that is the weirdest. It's fun.
Josh, I think Rob won. I think Rob won.
I think so.
Yes. I've seen many of people get smashed into the fence, get kicked. No serious injuries or anything, but I was not one of them because I hightailed it to the fence. I'm going to just tell you.
Well, I brought that up. That's what I wanted to question because I saw, I got an email today. You get those little email, weird things, jokes and stuff like that. But it was the weirdest jobs in the country. Okay. So I want to talk about some of these weird jobs real quick. In California, what do you think the weirdest job would be, Rob? Either one of you. Nothing?
Go ahead.
It's got to be something with picking fruit where you got to get up on like this insane ladder to get up in the trees, maybe?
Nope. Dog surfing instructor.
Okay.
There are people
right.
that have dog surfing schools. Okay. Colorado is Hangover Helpers Party Cleaner. There is a company that for the fraternities and stuff, they hire themselves out, and for any party that will, when you're done partying the next day, we'll come in and clean up your hangover mess so you don't have to mess with it.
Oh, I was thinking like they came by and gave them IVs or something.
No.
To get over their hangover.
That's a good idea. But in Florida, there is scuba diving pizza delivery man. And I guess in Key Largo, there's Jules Undersea Lounge, and visitors can get a pizza delivered to their underwater rooms. So,
all right.
That sounds like some soggy pizza, man.
Georgia, okay, chicken sexer.
Oh, I know about that.
Do you know what a chicken sexer is, Rob?
Yeah.
No.
Josh, what is a chicken sexer?
Yeah, we got a bunch of, Tyson Foods is huge over here. So we got a bunch of chicken farms and all kinds of stuff over here. And I know, buddy, that's what he does. He gets these little baby chicks, and somehow there's a little nub or something. And so they pick up these chickens and look at their tail end, look for the nub, and if it's a female, you throw it to the left. If it's a male, you throw it to the right.
That's a chicken sexer.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I think is weird. In Kansas, it's dog food taster. Okay.
Did they hire dogs to
No,
do that?
they don't.
All right.
It's people.
Okay.
Because a dog, a dog will pretty much eat anything, if he's hungry enough.
Mm-hmm.
So there are.
Well, if that doesn't describe KU football, I don't know.
So there is a job that humans taste the dog food.
So do they go out and get like homeless people or what? I mean, just saying it.
Okay, here's in New Jersey, our buddy South Jersey, Bill might know somebody who does this. A gum buster. Do you know what a gum buster is?
Absolutely.
No, you don't, Rob.
You're right, I don't.
Josh, do you know what a gum buster is?
I have no idea.
It's a company that cleans up gum off of sidewalks and under tables.
Okay.
Ugh.
Do they chew it after?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Here's a job I could have, though. Michigan, weirdest job, furniture tester.
Furniture tester.
You just sit on furniture.
Listen, I laid on this one all day. It's good to go. All right.
But even better is Minnesota. The weirdest job in Minnesota is professional sleeper.
Okay.
There are apparently a lot of...
There's a big need for professional sleepers?
Yeah, there's a lot of drug companies up in Minnesota. There's a lot of sleep stuff done up there, sleep testing, and so they hire people to sleep.
There you go. What do you do for a living? Oh, I don't know.
Here's in Oregon, a professional snuggler.
Okay.
So,
hey, why did I see these on the job board when I was looking the other day? Because I'm like, hey, I could do that.
I can snuggle.
Well, you can have two jobs at the same time. Let's snuggle, and I'll go to sleep. I'm making like double wages here.
New York, the weirdest job is fortune cookie writer. So they have people that literally sit and write.
Listen,
fortunes.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
All right. People be like, "What is this guy doing?"
Okay, I think the worst job, is Wyoming roof snow cleaner.
Okay.
They get up.
Oh man, that's kind of
Yeah, because they get like 12 foot of snow up there, and they got to get. You can't let the snow stay on your roof when it snows that much, and they have guys that get up and shovel your roof.
I don't know if it's on there, but I know what the worst job in the world is.
What's that?
I could share it with you.
Okay, what's the worst job?
It's the dude that's paid by the NFL to watch dudes pee in a cup.
Yeah.
That's the worst job in the world.
the meat gazer.
Right?
What did you call it, Josh?
Meat gazer.
When I was in the Marines, we called that guy the meat gazer.
Meat gazer.
Oh, they had one of the Marines
Yeah.
too? Oh, I
They
didn't
would,
know they
they
had
would
one of the
always have
Marines.
somebody, of a higher rank that has to stand there and watch it.
See, I don't want to be that guy.
You know, the meat gazer.
You don't want to.
Is that, you think that job pays really well?
It better.
I mean, what do you do for a living, Terry? Oh,
So they had to get volunteered then, it was in the military. Somebody's got to do it.
listen, if that dude comes in wearing pink, I'm out. I'm just saying. I'm out. Okay?
If his name is Sergio, you're not.
I don't know. I think we got to draw a line somewhere.
Okay. Josh, since you're from Arkansas, what's the weirdest job in Arkansas, do you think?
The weirdest job in Arkansas has got to be, I don't know, the athletic director at the University of Arkansas.
The meat gazer at the University of Arkansas.
yeah, that guy.
No, it's actually
there's so much mess going on up there.
I
have no idea.
It's a log rater.
A log rater.
What?
Rater. He looks at logs and rates them. Says this is a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. I don't know how you rate them, but It's
I didn't think about that. There's logging is a huge business down in South Arkansas, but I've never been around that. But I've had some friends go down there and get jobs because they pay pretty well because it's dangerous as all get out.
Yeah. Oklahoma, this surprised me with what it is in Oklahoma. What do you think it is in Oklahoma, Rob?
The worst job in Oklahoma is. Give me a second. I'm going to think about this, all right? The worst job in Oklahoma is. No, I don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue. Okay. Rock splitter. The weirdest, worst job in Oklahoma is a rock splitter. There are more people hired by quarries in Oklahoma to bust the rocks that come out from the quarries into gravel and other rocks than any other state.
Okay.
So that's the weirdest job in Oklahoma.
Well, there you learn something every day.
But
that's so bad they used to make prisoners do that.
Down in Granite they did. Yeah. You can send them out.
That's a great point.
It was deemed cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah. We can't do it to them, but we'll just hire you to do it.
Well, again, I'm from McAllister's, where Oklahoma State Penn's at. They used to grow their own food and beef, and you would see guys out there working the field, picking green beans, picking corn. Back when I was a kid, not anymore. But here, I don't know if these are weird jobs or jobs I would love.
Okay,
Pennsylvania, weirdest job, chocolate taster.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I can do some of that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And
right before I cuddle with someone and go to sleep.
Or before.
Whatever.
Virginia, the weirdest job is beer taster. There are more beer. Again, I don't know if that's a weird job or a dream job.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I've had some of those microbrews that'll make your stomach turn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Adrian sent us some beer that was, it was pretty rough, wasn't it, Rob?
Yes.
She's
definitely.
But okay, I just wanted to go through the, weirdest jobs. But okay, now what you said, we're going to give you your opportunity, Josh. Okay, because what people don't know is that when we were talking before we started recording, was that Josh from Van Buren, Arkansas, was going to convince me to what, Rob?
To drink the defensive Kool-Aid.
Okay, Josh. Good luck. Go.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to walk over to the pantry, dust off that crimson and cream Kool-Aid package you got going on, and get ready to drink them.
Okay.
So I'm a huge Oklahoma fan, but I just love college football in general.
Right.
All the way around. I watch it. I'll record the games and watch them on Sunday. I'm crazy. So I used to watch a lot of Washington State because they would, Pac-12 after dark, after all the other games are over.
Right.
I'd flip on Washington State because I have a huge man crush on Mike Leach. And so I watched Alex Grinch's defenses for 3 years. Now, All-Americans are something Oklahoma knows a lot about. In fact, when SI was doing all their lists, they failed to mention that OU has the most unanimous All-Americans of any school in the country.
Right.
I'm sure you guys are fully aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
We just turn them out left and right. Well, Alex Grinch turned a 6'2", 250-pound nose tackle into a consensus All-American. And his name was Hercules Mataafa.
Hercules?
And he went, yes, Hercules Mataafa. And he went undrafted in the NFL draft. Have you ever heard of a consensus All-American going undrafted in the NFL draft?
Actually, no.
I mean, that's yeah, right? And the reason is because he played nose tackle and he weighed 250 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But this guy racked up almost 50 tackles for loss in his career. He had 10.5 sacks his senior year. And he was so undersized. But the way Alex Grinch ran his defense, this guy was tearing everybody apart. Now, he's quick, obviously, but I can think of somebody we have playing nose tackle that is super quick and weighs about, 50, 60 pounds more than he does.
Yeah.
And so, I think Neville Gallimore is just going to tear everybody apart in this new defense. And what they would do a lot of the time is right before the snap, because, just about everybody runs shotgun, when they see the quarterback raise his knee, the defensive line would switch gaps.
Right.
Everybody would shift to the left or shift to the right. And, I mean, I'm a big boy. I know you guys, I've heard you guys talk in the past about playing offensive line when you were growing up. You can imagine if the guy shifts right before the ball snaps, all of a sudden you're going, oh, no, freaking out, what do
changes.
I do? Right. And so that was a complete game changer. That's how they were able to be such a good defense with undersized and slower players, because Washington State wasn't recruiting, nearly as well as, UCLA, USC, all the, Washington and Oregon. But they were beating those teams because of scheme and everything like that. And so Alex Grinch's defense is really good with that. And I heard some of the comments from the OU players. The defensive line seemed super happy because before they were asked to play in a two-guy system where basically they had to run and just grab a hold of an offensive lineman and get in a wrestling match for 60
keep
minutes
them off
a
the
game.
linebackers.
Right. And now they're getting the opportunity to go make plays. And I think that, football is a line of scrimmage game. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, all those guys get all the attention, but I think you guys know and I know the game's won on the line. That's why OU is so good, because, one of their greatest strengths is their offensive line and their offensive line coach. And that's why I'm not really worried about the offensive line this year. But on the defensive side, the OU defensive line hasn't been very good at all in the past few years, and I think that's going to change this year. And it's going to make the secondary look better, because you look a whole lot better when the defensive line is back there chasing the quarterback around and he doesn't have time to throw, and you can stick on your assignment. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 4 guys that can cover as well as Deion Sanders in his prime. If the quarterback's got, half an hour to throw back there, somebody's going to get open.
Right.
And so I think that the secondary is going to get better just surely by the fact that the defensive line is going to be better. And I don't know, everything I've heard out of camp, a lot of times you hear stuff and you're like, oh, that's coach speak or whatever. But I actually, you can hear the truth in what people are saying about how this guy's different, how they believe in him. And I don't know, I just, people talk bad about Mike Stoops. People talk good about Mike Stoops. It's one of those either way. I think what Mike Stoops did in his later years is he knew a way to coach defense, and the game, and the offensive game changed so much that I don't think he kept up. And he was trying to change his defense to stop what other people were doing.
Yeah, Big 12 offenses.
Right.
It was actually Bob that did that.
Okay.
It was Bob, and when he brought his brother back was when Brent left, and look what Brent did. Has built the most dominant defense in college football.
Right. And I think the difference is Alex Grinch, Alex Grinch is the defense what Lincoln Riley is to offense, I believe. Lincoln Riley says, I don't care who you throw out there, what you try to do, we're not going to change what we do, and you're not going to be able to stop us. And, because we're that much better than you. And I think Alex Grinch is basically telling these defenders, this is what we're going to do. I don't care what the other team's doing. This is what we're going to do, and let them try to beat us. And when the defense feels like their coach is behind them and not, scared and calling plays scared, that the defense believes more. And so I believe that they're just going to be a whole lot better this year. And another reason I think that is when people are talking about who's going to be starting, Patrick Fields hasn't started a game in his career, but he's, Alex Grinch called him, solid, he's locked up a starting spot. He's one of the best guys we have in our secondary. And he was like third team last year. And so that makes me believe that he's just looking up and down this roster saying, who's going to be the ones that are going to come in and play for me, and not just guaranteeing people, who's going to try their hardest.
Right.
and just basically reshuffling the defense. But I actually heard about Brent Venables did like a 2-hour interview with some guy in Clemson, and he released it as a 2-part podcast. And so I wanted to hear what he had to say because he talked about all his life growing up until now. And it's called the Clemson Dubcast, and it's Brent Venables Part 2. It starts out when he comes to OU, and he said that when he came to OU in 1999 that the defensive players had bad attitudes. They thought they were something that they weren't. They thought that they, just because they were in Oklahoma, that they were, God's gift to mankind. And he was like, no, you have to work for it. And I think we're in the exact same situation now as we were in 1999 when he came in. And I think just the change and this guy coming in and shaking things up and giving these guys a new attitude, because they won the national championship in 2000. It wasn't like they went out and got, 45 stars to come in a year.
Right.
They won with what they already had on campus that wasn't winning before. So I think that I'm believing. I'm ready to bust through that wall, like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I know where you're.
I don't disagree with anything you say. Okay, you have said. Okay, I don't disagree with anything Rob has said about the Kool-Aid. Believe me, I want to drink it. I want to, but I can't. Okay, because I would just go back to ever since Lincoln Riley has been at.
He's been hurt too many times.
Yeah. I have. My heart has been ripped out, stepped on, and stuffed back in my chest. Okay, because it is. When we start the season, was it in Lincoln Riley's first year? We get beat right off the bat by who? Houston. Okay, then Ohio State comes in here and literally embarrasses our defense. Just I don't remember who was the cornerback that they picked on all night long. That I can't remember who he was. Just got smoked the whole game. Okay, so
I think he's still here.
Defense was terrible. Offense wasn't as good. Okay, but it was one of the top offenses in the country. Okay, Lincoln's was that his first year or second year? Lincoln's been head coach 2 years.
I don't know.
His third year, or anyway. Point being, okay, is last year the FAU game and the UCLA game. Ooh, man, defense looked good. They were getting to the ball. In walks Army. Okay, that one's gone. Same way the year before. It's the same group of guys, okay? And I understand. I hear what you're saying, Josh. Me and Rob have talked about it 1,000 times. But this is the same group of guys that, and we're just fans. And a lot of the fans out there said if they just get rid of Mike, it'll be better. Just watch. And everybody thought, Ruffin McNeil is in here. You guys just watch. The other podcaster said, just watch. Other people, media guys, just watch. These kids want to play for him. It's different. No. They got worse. Okay. And believe me, I'm just sitting here gleaming going, yep. You're right. Everything you're saying is right. Because I went and watched YouTube, and I'm like you. I watched, the 2:00, Washington State, Oregon State game. I stay up and watch all of them. And I went back and watched some YouTube stuff and saw, I love what he does. I'm just concerned with some of the stuff that he said during spring, and I know coach speak and stuff, and some of the stuff he's saying now is he thought Oklahoma had more talent than what they had.
Yeah.
Or what they have. Okay. And I think that's, whether they weren't coached up, whether they whatever the issue was, there's something with this group of guys for the last 3 years, 2 and 3, and I know we've graduated some, that just hasn't clicked. Okay. And what bothers me is this first game that we have with Houston, okay, is Houston is a top 5 offense, and they're bringing most everybody back. Got a new coach, but that offense is coming back. They're a top 5 offense.
So we're going to get tested early.
We're going to get tested early. Now, what happens with these kids if we beat Houston 45-43? Everything that Coach Grants and everybody's been talking about is going to go. It's going. Their confidence is going to get slapped down. You know, it's going to be, oh crap, here we go again. You know, we're going to have to listen to everything. I just can't do it because as a fan, I mean, I physically, I'm concerned for my health with buying into it, okay? Because I get too angry about it. I mean, and when I'm at home,
I hear what you're saying.
When I'm at home, I'm vocal about it at a game. But see, at home games, I'm not that type of a guy. Okay, I'm not the idiot in the stands screaming at the coaches. Okay, I'm not screaming. I'm rooting for the team. But that Army game, I sat there until, you know, it got to the end. I was, you know, it was one of the loudest I've ever heard that stadium. It was fun. But for 3 quarters, well, almost a complete 4 quarters, I sat there and just was boiling, thinking, my wife kept going, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, are you not seeing this? Because I was just sitting there. I mean, just tense as could be. And, you know, the Kansas games. Kansas put 40 points on. What was the little guy's name that ran all over us?
Puka.
Okay. Puka put 40 points on us, okay? That's what, it's the same group of guys, okay? I know different mentality, different everything, but, you know, we've talked to some former players, and, you know, I'm not going to say their names, but not that we know a lot of them, okay? But it's like, what's wrong? And most of them would go, dude, I don't know. You know, because, you know, Mike Stoops didn't just become, you know, you've heard us. He didn't become a bad coach overnight. Something happened. I don't know if it's these kids. I don't know if it's the culture now. I don't know if the focus has maybe been on offense since Lincoln's been there, and maybe Lincoln left the defense a little bit alone. I've heard the same thing you have, that Grinch is the Lincoln Riley of defenses, and he's young. You're going to see a different, and I'm hoping. But until that Texas game, I don't care if we win. I don't care if we win every game 45-0 until that Texas game. I'm not.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not even, you know, flapping the Kool-Aid pack to pack it down to the bottom until.
You hear what he's saying? But what?
But what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, I just want you to believe. I feel for you.
I want to believe.
Yeah, I feel that pain.
I believed last year, Josh. I believed last year. Okay? Look what happened to me last year. I mean,
we made it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, again.
Lincoln Riley's been the head coach. Yeah, Lincoln Riley's been the head coach for 2 years, and for 2 straight years, OU's been to the college football playoff.
And I think we're going to go again this year. But
I think we're going to go again this year too.
But it's all going to lay.
Something else I wanted to ask you guys, because I heard you guys talking about all that negative recruiting on the defensive side.
Yeah.
And I do not understand this for 1 second. There have been, you know, however many college football playoffs, 3 teams have been more than once.
Right.
Clemson, Alabama, and
Oklahoma.
4. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and Oklahoma.
Right.
And they've been the last 2 years. And how? I mean, I guess maybe I just don't understand 17-year-old kids. But if I was a coach, I would walk into those kids' living rooms and I'd be like, look, we've made the college football playoffs 2 years in a row. We're going again, you know, and you're one of the best defensive players in the country, and we need you because our defense stinks, and you can come in and play right away and play for a national title.
Right.
Or you can go to Alabama and sit for 3 years.
Well, he may be saying those things.
Yeah.
I mean, he may be saying them.
Yeah.
I hope he is, but, you know, just, you know, when you hear all these kids saying, I don't know about OU, and, you know, I'd rather go, you know, like Texas with all their defensive recruits, like, man, that guy is, you know, selling them. Tom Herman's a snake in the grass, let me tell you. Him and Jimbo Fisher both. And I don't trust either one of them. But I don't know how you can convince those kids to come in. Oh yeah, come here with Texas. We're going to be awesome. It's like, well, you hadn't done nothing for 25 years almost. Yeah. Well, 2006.
Well, I mean, I get some of the negative recruiting. I mean, I understand where it's coming from. Okay, and why. And
no, stuff. I do too.
But as the opposing coach, you're sitting here. If you're Nick Saban or you're Tom Herman, you're sitting here going, Grinch is going in going, you can start now, and then these coaches are going in as like, look at what they put out the last 4 years. They've gotten worse.
Yeah, they got the whole
years.
Argument. Yeah, they got the whole argument. If you go there, you're not going to make the league.
Yeah,
come here, our guys always get drafted.
Yeah,
I understand that.
And the players that Oklahoma has on defense, they're 3 and 4 star players. Not a lot of 5, but they're 3 and 4 star players. And they're going, look, the knock on Oklahoma is they haven't developed it. And now you got a new guy. It's still a test. Nobody knows what Oklahoma is going to be on defense. Look at the Washington State. There's no guarantee until there's success on defense. There's not going to be a big kick in recruiting, I don't think.
Yeah, I get that too. I'm just thinking if I was a 17-year-old kid, I'd be like, I'll go there. They win a ton, and I get to play right away. But,
yeah.
I
don't know. I'd have a hard time.
I'm also looking through crimson-colored glasses, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd have a hard time not going to Miami. I hate Miami, but, man, if I was a 17-year-old kid and Miami took me on a trip to
oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm there with you. Or I never understood this. How is Arizona State so bad at football? Everything I've ever seen from Arizona State is, gorgeous women, nothing but a huge party school.
Yeah.
It's, 4 years of just partying around good-looking women.
I tell you how, it's 120 degrees out there.
I guess so. But I'm just thinking if I was a 17-year-old went on a recruiting visit there, I'd be like, all right, let's do this.
Listen, I work at the university. We got a lot of pretty girls here, too. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but, and even Barry Switzer brought that up one time was, it's hard to recruit to Norman back then because you go to Florida, USC, it goes, man, you got all that Oklahoma, all he carried was championships, It was like, this is where it's at because I can't, if you want to go chase women, go to Florida, go to USC. That's the place to go. But if you want to come and win championships, come here.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma football is kind of a miracle if you think about it because, Oklahoma has some good recruits coming out every year. But, I mean, maybe, 5 are, Power 5 level players as opposed to, recruiting in Texas or Florida or California, and but for some reason, they've always been so good at football. It's one of the craziest things. Like, I know that they're close to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but, we have to go into Texas to recruit. We have to go into California and Florida to recruit and get these kids to come out to Oklahoma City. It's kind of a miracle that OU football is as good as it always has been.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I think that's what makes it really cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and now, I mean, with recruiting, the facilities and everything that goes along with it, Oklahoma is second to none. I mean, nobody can go in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You don't want to go there, look at their facilities, and they'll be going, yeah, their facilities are pretty nice. Bad thing is they'll probably have to be upgraded in 5 years. There'll be another
sure.
There'll be another $14 million spent on new stuff because that's how fast everything's changing. But
go give them that water slide.
Yeah,
or whatever else they're doing down in Clemson.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now it's time for Sooner Not a Sooner. Rob,
I'm winning.
Your favorite part.
Yep.
Now, Josh, you've been a fan since 2000, so does that mean I got to try to keep it in the 2000 range?
Okay, well, here's the deal. I had to relearn everything because I grew up in a very religious household, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I didn't ever get to listen to popular music or watch movies or hardly at all. So I went back and like relearned all the pop culture I missed. So I'm pretty good on older OU guys.
Okay. So challenge accepted, huh? Let's see here. Alvin Mack, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Alvin Mack was the linebacker in, oh God, what was that movie? He's not a Sooner. He was the linebacker in, oh gosh.
Come on.
There was a scene in that movie where they laid down in the middle of the road and they had to take it out
You're
of the
right.
movie because kids actually went out and did it and got killed.
Yep.
Oh, man.
The Program.
What was the name of that movie?
Program.
The Program. Dang it. Latimer with all the face paint.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Okay. Let's see here. Bill Betchold. Sooner, not a Sooner.
Sooner.
Do you know what kind? When was he a Sooner?
That sounds like a 1960s name.
Nope. 1982.
Okay.
Third round draft pick to who, Rob?
Denver Broncos.
No, not the Denver Broncos.
Not the Denver Broncos.
To the Los Angeles Rams. He was a center.
That was my next guess.
The next one, Sooner, not a Sooner, Kenny King.
Sooner.
Man,
I'm glad you got that one, bro.
Do you know what position and years?
I want to say he was a defensive back.
Nope.
No?
You got the back part right.
Yeah, he was a running back.
Okay, well, I was thinking of another. I got lucky on that one.
1979. He was a third.
Okay.
He was a third-round pick to.
It wasn't the Denver Broncos.
No, you should.
Ooh,
know,
I got that one right.
You should know this.
Dallas Cowboys?
No, you should know this.
I should know this.
1979. Who was your team?
Oh, Houston Oilers.
There you go, Rob.
I was 7. Come on.
Well, it's still your team. Jiminy Christmas. Thomas Benson, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Thomas Benson. I'm going to say not a Sooner.
Rob?
Not a Sooner. He was a pitcher.
No.
No.
He was a Sooner. He was a linebacker in 1984, second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons.
That was what I was going to say.
Well, I didn't give you a chance this time, huh?
Or the Denver Broncos, not sure which.
Let's see. Earl Wilkinson, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Not a Sooner.
Rob?
Not a Sooner.
Who was Earl Wilkinson?
It was Bud Wilkinson's
I just
brother.
thought that was too.
No? Okay.
I was going to say it was too close to Bud Wilkinson, so that's why I went not a Sooner. He's got to be a pitcher for the Rangers.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
He, I believe he was one of the linemen. I can't remember which, but he was in the replacements. Played with the Washington Sentinels in the replacement. Let's see.
I think we're really close on this one, though.
Phil Elliott or Philip Elliott. Sooner, not a Sooner.
I am not 100%, but I'm going to go Sooner.
Rob?
Definitely a Sooner.
Nope, not a Sooner.
Oh!
Do y'all want to know who Phil/Philip Elliott is?
Race car driver?
Nope.
Oh. Well, you never know.
Nick Nolte. Played
in
North Dallas
Ford.
Yeah, I was going to say North Dallas Ford.
Yeah, and the North Dallas Bulls, the quarterback for the North Dallas Bulls.
Oh, that was a good show.
But in the movie, did he play for Oklahoma? Because then he would.
Yeah, then he would have been a Sooner, right?
That would count. That would count. Yeah.
Okay. Rod Tidwell, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Rod Tidwell was a wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals.
You had me at hello.
University, and Hey, Tom Cruise, y'all show me the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice Rob went to the chick flick part of that. You had me at hello.
Dude, I was in love with that chick. I don't even know her name. I was like, girl, listen, you can't be saying that to me. Oh, wait, this is a movie.
But well, that's it for Sooner Not a Sooner. But it was some pretty good ones. You know, I wasn't like I said when you said you'd been there.
Oh, he just booted that something awful. You got to see this.
Yeah,
it was like a fourth grade little league mistake.
You a baseball fan, Josh?
Yeah.
In the park home run. Booyah.
We're watching. We got the Angels Pirates game on. A guy just had an inside the park home run.
Well, yeah, but it was on an error. It was on an error.
You know, still, I mean,
Little League home run. Little League home run.
But yeah, you got what was it? The outfielder kicked it.
Yeah, he just booted it.
Yeah.
So
okay, so we've talked about the defense. I'm still not drinking the Kool-Aid. We talked about all this SI crap and their dumb stuff. Did you see what's the voice of the Sooners?
Toby Rowland?
Toby Rowland's tweet. He was like, he put Sports Illustrated as the worst magazine. He had like, you know, Home and Gardens at number 1.
I didn't see them. I had to check him out.
But
I love T-Row.
Yeah. So, Josh, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, before I get off here,
okay,
I'd like to tell you about the time that I trolled Oklahoma State.
Uh-oh. Trolling Oklahoma
Is this
State.
recent or?
Yes, at their stadium.
Oh.
So, back in the 2000s, I went to college at Arkansas State University,
mm-hmm.
and Arkansas State was playing Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State. And so me and a bunch of my friends wanted to go because, you know, we like going to the bigger places. The year before, we'd gone to LSU, or a couple years before, we'd gone to see them play at LSU just because, you know, I mean,
yeah.
When are you going to get a chance to go, you know? So it was Bobby Reed was their quarterback. It was the guy who was the quarterback during the famous, I'm a man, I'm 40,
yeah.
speech, you know, come after me. And so we went down there, and my best friend was from Mangum, Oklahoma.
What's his name?
And so his mom drove up.
Wait, hold up. What's his name?
Keith Rader.
Rob's from Mangum, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He writes for Baseball Prospectus now.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. But yeah, I went to Mangum one time, man. That place is it was hot. But anyway, so his mom drove up and took him to Walmart because, you know, we were college kids. She was going to go buy him a bunch of stuff that, you know, college kids need, like deodorant and, you know, all that stuff, so they could bring it back home with us. And I happened to see a bunch of OSU fans walking around with those stupid foam orange cowboy hats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so I didn't know they existed before I was there. And so I saw one in a store, and I had this brilliant idea. So I called up my best friend, and I told him, because back then it was when Arkansas State was still the Indians before they changed their mascot because the NCAA made them, you know, because of all that,
yeah,
you know, Indian mascot stuff. And so we were still the Indians. So I asked him while he was at Walmart to buy 2 arrows, and I went into the bookstore and bought me one of those stupid orange foam hats. And when we met up to go before the game, I took the arrows and stuffed them through the top of that cowboy hat. And so we started walking towards the stadium, and I got so many, like, I thought I was going to get in about 10 fights, you know, because people saw all this stuff. And I was wearing a big old Arkansas State shirt, you know, and with this cowboy hat with arrows through it. And right before we got to the stadium, some kid walked up behind me and started crying and looked at and goes, "Dad, can he do that?" It was just, I actually felt kind of bad. I like made an 8-year-old cry.
Don't feel bad. He's, you know.
But then I got over it.
Yeah, he's, you know,
so,
if he's an 8-year-old Okie Stank fan, he's going to cry a lot anyway. Might as well get him started.
yeah, I figured.
He's got 80 years of crying to do. So, you know, I mean,
Right.
don't feel bad.
Yeah.
You were right.
I didn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for a minute, then I got over it. But yeah, so I wore that into the stadium with the arrow through it, and I thought that was the funniest thing that ever happened.
Well, you know,
They did not think it was that funny.
Apparently Oklahoma State fans are arseholes because, you know, you talked about that, you know, our buddy Holzhammer, you know, he's got the tattoo of Baker, and he went up to Stillwater for the OU-OSU game after he got that tattoo, and he said some of I mean, and if you know Holzhammer, there ain't much he won't repeat, but he was like, some things I'm not even going to repeat that they call me. He said it was terrible. Some of the rudest people that he's ever been around, you know, they
weren't nice at all.
Yeah, they saw the.
I figured, you know, I mean, they beat us pretty good. You know, I figured going to a game where, you know, I could understand a rivalry game being upset, you know, and talking smack, but I mean, Arkansas State. You know, why are you gonna get all butthurt over Arkansas State?
Yeah. Well, that's a good one.
Well.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
You know, like I said, the 8-year-old. How long ago was that?
Don't catch me lying. Well,
2006
maybe,
yeah,
2005.
So whoever that 8-year-old is, you know, he's, you know, 20-ish
something.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
God,
he's
make me feel old now.
Yeah, he's crying. You know, he's still crying. You know, when he walks when he walks into every home game because he's not sure that they're going to win. So you know, you just actually started a tradition for him. That's all you did. So
okay, well,
get used to it, kid.
Get used to it, kid. It's a life of misery.
Yeah.
Get a toothbrush.
Yeah.
and since I've been following you guys on Twitter, I got turned on to Blinken Riley.
Oh,
on his Twitter, I love his Twitter and his Bedlam Facts Friday.
Yeah.
But I have one that I thought of the other day that he hadn't posted yet. Mike Gundy's been the head coach there for 14 years.
Yeah.
And Lincoln Riley's been the head coach at Oklahoma for 2 years, and they both have the same amount of wins in Bedlam.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Yeah,
that's rich. That is rich.
And actually, Lincoln will probably surpass him.
Yeah, probably.
This year he'll surpass him. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's got to feel horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was mad after last year's game because he felt like they could have won that game, and they could have. I mean,
whatever.
But he
kind of should have.
Yeah, because we have the worst defense in the country,
right? If you can't beat the worst defense in the country, you suck.
They couldn't win when they had Barry Sanders.
Yeah,
and Thurman Thomas.
They had both those guys at one point in time.
Yeah.
So
grief.
But. Well, hey, Josh, I guess that's going to be about it. I'm going to cut it off now, and we appreciate you, being on with us, and hope you enjoyed it. We will do it again. But again, your Twitter handle is Maverick what?
Maverick 2280.
Maverick 2280. So give him a follow on Twitter. He follows us. But if you guys listen to it, those listening that are on the Twitter, give him a follow, because I'm sure somebody's going to start. It's the Sooner Follow train that they do every year at the beginning of the year. So somebody will get that thing rolling, and everybody will, because everybody, all the fans jump back on Twitter here in about a week. Because us hardcore ones are on it all the time. But
I'm a junkie. I'm there all the time.
Yeah, but there will be a bunch of people jump on it for the season, and I'm looking forward to it. But Rob, you got anything else to add?
Man, I appreciate you coming on, Josh. We had a good time.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, that's it, everybody. We'll see you next time. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Josh.
Boomer.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans, and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.